All right. Oh my God, hey, welcome. This is a new project that I'm calling Hair Talk with Tess. It's kind of funny because back when I was like 19 and thought I was super cool, I thought I wanted to be a YouTuber and I made a lot of videos, and one of the series that I had was Hair Talk with Tess. At that time, I was a licensed cosmetologist and I wanted to share my knowledge because I've always been passionate about hair. So now instead of being a 19-year-old who wants to be a YouTuber, I'm a 24-year-old who wants to expand my voice and explore different platforms. And yeah, I guess that's it. This is kind of a new project that I'm starting, and I've been prepping for it for a while, so I'm really excited to actually get it going. Basically, the plan is to film a long form video going through all the topics that I want to talk about. And I'm not too familiar with YouTube right now, but I am going to put in those segment markers. So because this is a long form video where I'll be talking about lots of topics, you can skip ahead to the topic that you want. But also, I am planning on clipping this from this video and uploading separate videos based on each topic. And I'll be uploading all of them at the same time. So by the time you're watching this video, all the shorter form videos should be up as well. So if you're interested in all the topics and you like listening to my voice for some reason, you can stay on this video and hang out with me as we move through all the different topics of the day. Or if you want to just go ahead and move on to one of those shorter form videos or skip to a segment based on the little segment markers down below, you're more than welcome to do that. That's just kind of a little rundown of the new project I'm trying out. If you're kind of like, hold on, what are you doing? What is this new setup? Where are you? Why aren't you filming your little informational videos in front of your room, just in your room? I'm so sorry if you loved that content, but I'm not doing that for now. I'm going to really try this out because it's something that I have been it was just an idea that I had one day, and whenever I have an idea, I so fixate on it. So it's an idea that I've been fixating on for a while, and I have done so much prep work to finally be able to put it into action. So I hope that eventually you can grow to love this content just as much as you loved the other content that I had been putting out. Now, with all that being said, how's it going? How's life been? What's new? I'm currently filming this in the middle of the holiday rush. By the time this video comes out, it will be January and my life will be a lot more calm. But right now it is December and everything is chaotic, but in a good way. I don't mind the holiday rush. I really love the clientele that I have and the community that I've built here. So even though it's busy and a little chaotic, it's not a bad thing, which I'm super grateful for. It's definitely way less draining that way. But I would say this has been a pretty good holiday season. I have had a lot of fun just hanging out with my clients and creating looks for them and really connecting to people behind the chair and even on Instagram and social media as well. This holiday season has kind of been a lot. I've definitely gone through some changes these last few months. I won't go too deep into my personal life. If you want to know, you can book an appointment because I'm an open book. Just kidding. No, I won't go too deep into my personal life, but I'm just going to say that this has been a season of change, and change is hard, but also, as the saying goes, change is the only thing that's constant, which if you're like me, that's really annoying to hear, but it is true. Because change is constant and I myself and a lot of other people have a hard time with change. I know that this time of year, plus like the sun going down earlier and all those variables within the equation can make life a little bit rough. Before we dive into like the juice of this video, I just want to take a moment to encourage everyone and just say that you're doing such a good job. Literally, you made it this far. You have made it this far in life. You're killing it. So far, you have 100% survival rate of the worst days of your life. I saw that quote the other day. It went something like that, but I just loved it. I resonated with that quote so much because it's true. So far, I have 100% survival rate of the worst day of my life, and that's pretty motivating if you ask me. Okay, now that we have that little snippet of motivation in the air, let's move on to one of my favorite topics of conversation, which is hair health. But specifically, we can talk about winter hair health and why our hair and scalp changes in the winter. It might be a little confusing because it's like, it's just your hair. Why does it change as the seasons change? there are a few factors that go into making your hair and scalp change. More specifically, a lot of people experience a lot of dryness in the winter, and there are so many ways that you can solve that problem. So first, I want to talk about how we can internally solve that problem. First things first is, of course, dryness comes from dehydration. That kind of is obvious when you say it like that. But if you are dehydrated, your hair and scalp is going to be dry. So the first thing to do is to make sure that you're drinking more water. In the summertime, the days are longer, we're doing more things, we're more active, which means that we're probably drinking way more water. And that's great. And in the winter, with the days being shorter, we're usually less active. We don't go outside as much. We're probably not drinking as much water as we are in the summertime. So the first thing to make sure that you're doing is you're drinking enough water. With that being said, let's just take a moment to take a sip of water together. So obviously, hydrate yourself. Seriously, hydrate yourself. But now we can move into something else, which is also internal, and that is circulation. Circulation can drastically change your health internally and externally. Because in the wintertime, we are less active and we're doing less things, most likely. Some people, they are still just as active in the wintertime. But for the most part, a lot of us are kind of in more of a dormant period in the winter, which can mean that our circulation has decreased a little bit. And whenever our circulation is not performing at its peak, that can cause things like tension, and that can also affect our hair growth and lead to stress and all of these things. So improving your circulation is a really awesome way to improve your overall hair health. And there are certain ways that you can improve circulation. One is by massage, which we'll talk about hair oiling and massaging your scalp in a little bit, but massage in general is really a great way to improve your circulation. I really like looking up lymph node maps on your body. There's so many lymph nodes all over your body, and if you activate those, it can really help improve circulation. Of course, scalp massage for your scalp. I really like massaging my décolleté area and then kind of like my arms. Just improving that circulation in the upper body, especially the areas that are above our heart. That can really drastically improve your hair health. Isn't it crazy how the internal things can affect our external things? It's almost like our body is one thing. That's really crazy. Some other ways outside of massage to improve that is just being more active. Like I mentioned, we are typically less active in the wintertime. So just making sure that you're stretching or going on a walk or even hitting the gym if that's your jam is a really important way to improve circulation. Now, another way to improve circulation, which might be controversial, but I don't care, is taking a cool shower. It really helps improve blood flow. I've been taking cool showers for a while. I started in the summertime because that's when it's warm. And then I kept doing it in the winter, and it's really tough some mornings, but I have noticed that it does help my circulation. It really does. So taking cooler showers can improve your circulation, which can improve your overall hair and skin health. Another thing with taking cool showers that goes with the topic that we mentioned before of dehydration is it can help retain moisture within your hair and skin. If you're taking really hot showers, there are some benefits to hot showers. However, hot showers open up the cuticle of your hair strand and the pores in your skin and release moisture, which can cause excessive dryness when it's really not necessary. So even if you're not going to take cold showers, try and do like lukewarm showers instead of really hot showers, because that's an improvement from even hot showers. I will discourage most everyone from taking hot showers in general, but if you can't take cold or cool showers, just go for like a warm shower. I like getting my cool shower and like splash water on myself to kind of get myself adjusted and then just have to jump in. And then eventually it's fine. But yes, try and take cooler showers if you can. If you can't, that's fine. You just have to really stay up on your hydration game. So now let's move into some external things that you can do to improve your hair health in the wintertime. One of those things that I have been so obsessed with lately is hair oiling. I have talked about this quite a few times on my Instagram page already, but hair oiling is just exactly as it sounds. It's oiling your hair, but more specifically, it's oiling your scalp. We're not putting oil on the ends of our hair. Our hair strands don't absorb oil in the same way that our scalp does, so it's really not beneficial to put oil directly on your hair strands. It's more beneficial to put it on your scalp. I really love this scalp distributor or scalp oil distributor. It's linked in my Amazon store, which I'll have all of these links in, or a bunch of links, I guess, in the description of this video. I have been oiling my hair for a while now, and I have definitely noticed so many benefits to it. Like, my hair doesn't get dirty as quickly because it is more nourished and more hydrated. My curls or waves or whatever you want to call them, they're doing great. They're doing fantastic. And my hair is just growing a lot more. I mainly started doing it because I was noticing a little bit of thinning around my hairline. And I feel like that has even improved. With things like this, it takes time to see improvements, but you just kind of have to stick with it. So with hair oiling, you want to just distribute the oil onto your scalp and massage it in. Another good excuse to give yourself a scalp massage. And this is just going to really nourish your hair and be such a good addition to your hair care routine. Now with that, let's talk about what kind of oils you should use and what to look for. The first thing, you should be using an oil where the only ingredient is the oil. If your hair oil has other ingredients in it, that's not a hair oil, that's a product, and that's not what we're looking for. We are looking for a whole oil. I personally use castor oil. I love castor oil. It has so many healing benefits, so many nourishing properties, and I have been using it for a while. I have used it in other projects as well. I used to make little hair care products, but it's an incredible oil. It has growth properties, it has hydrating properties, it has nourishing properties, and it also adds a lot of shine. So that's personally my favorite. I will hype it up for forever. I have a castor oil wholesale link as well, for Amazon. The main thing to look for is making sure the ingredient of your oil is the oil. Now, an oil not to use, we'll go into some oils that I suggest in a second, but let's get one out of the way. It's kind of the elephant in the room. Just don't use coconut oil. It's really, the molecules are too big for the hair strands, as well as coconut oil has stripping properties. You can use it for pulling plaque out of your teeth. I don't know if you've ever heard of coconut oil pulling, but it literally is just not the kind of oil that we want to go for when we're looking for a nourishing and hydrating oil. Now, if you disagree with me and you're like, no, coconut oil is fine. Okay, whatever. Don't believe me, that's fine. But why not use an oil that doesn't have controversy surrounding it, that you know for a fact is good, instead of just using coconut oil because you think it's good, but a lot of people say it's not, Anyway, now that that's out of the way, what oil should you use? I love castor oil. We just talked about that, but I also love grapeseed oil. That's a really good one. It's a lot lighter if you're worried about weighing your hair down or buildup, and maybe you have an excessively oily scalp, or you're starting your hair oiling journey and you don't know how it will go. Grapeseed oil is a really good one to start out with, as well as almond oil. Almond oil is also a little bit lighter. And to me, it's a little bit of a sweeter smell, which I like. It has so many good hydrating properties, as well as avocado oil, a lot of good fatty acids and omegas in that oil. And then jojoba oil, that's a really good one. It can be a little bit on the pricier side, but it's a really, really amazing, nourishing oil. So many people recommend it for hair. Another one that's not as commonly known is pomegranate seed oil. Incredible oil. I absolutely love it. It has so many amazing properties, but it's usually a little harder to find in larger quantities, and it is a little bit more pricey. So that might be one that you could get that and add it to another oil, which we can talk more about that in just a little bit. But those are the oils that I definitely would highly recommend. So if you want to start with one of those, you have a list of ones to start with aside from coconut oil. Another thing that I will say about hair oiling, and this might actually be controversial. No, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe. Is you can literally get the oils at the grocery store. You can get them at the grocery store. Isn't that crazy? You can literally go to your grocery store and find grapeseed oil. Some people might be like, that's cooking oil. What? And I'm like, okay, but if the ingredient is the oil, I don't really see a problem with it. That's just me. But I'm also a certified cheapskate, so I'm always looking for like convenience and affordability when it comes to my life. So I think that if you go to the grocery store and you see grapeseed oil and you just want to pick it up, you should do it because I don't see the harm in that. If the ingredient is the ingredient, the ingredient is the ingredient. To further elevate your oiling experience, as I mentioned earlier, you can add other oils to your whole oil. I recently just added rosemary essential oil to my castor oil, and it's been, like I said, recently, so I can't really testify to results quite yet, but it smells good. Even if it doesn't really do anything, it still smells good. And it's important to not use essential oils directly on your scalp because they're super strong and super concentrated, and it can cause some irritation for some people. Not everyone, but it's just not always the best idea. Plus, you literally only need a couple drops if you were to add it to your scalp, and it's not really guaranteed that it would be distributed all over the scalp. So my recommendation is to add whatever essential oil you're interested in to your whole oil that you're using to oil your scalp. Hair oiling is an incredible way to add nourishment and hydration to your hair, and another great addition to your hair health routine. And then one final thing for hair health in the wintertime before we move on to our next topic is to make sure you are using leave-in conditioner and conditioner every single time you wash your hair. Hydrating your hair during this season is so important, and using leave-in conditioner and conditioner every single time is one of the surefire ways to ensure that you are not drying out your hair. This goes for all seasons of the year, but it's especially important in drier seasons like the wintertime. Moving on to the next topic of conversation, let's talk about some color specialist things. I've been a color specialist since the start of my career, and I love talking to people about ways to improve their color skills or consultation skills or just hairstylist skills in general behind the chair. The topic I want to go over today is how do you navigate when your client leaves something up to you or says that they don't know. I don't know about you, but to me that is kind of frustrating. Like when I ask somebody a question and they're like, what do you think? I'm like, I don't have to wear this hair. I don't know why you're asking me, which I know that why they're asking me, it's because they trust my opinion, but there's certain questions where I'm just like, girl, I can't answer that for you. And so how do you navigate those situations? The first thing to do is to ask all the questions. Make sure you're asking every single question. We can start with an example of what if you're asking a guest if they want face framing, like those cute face framing layers, and they say, I don't know, what do you think? Or if they say, I'll leave it up to you. A lot of times they actually do know what they want. They're just having a hard time coming to the conclusion. So making sure that you're asking all the questions about their lifestyle. With that example specifically, you can ask them if they ever wear their hair up. If they say yes, pull their hair back and say, do you like when pieces fall on your face? Maybe they'll say no, and then you know that you're not going to do face trimming that day. Maybe they say yes, and then you could move on to how short do you want them to fall? And you pull their hair back, and you're like, do you want them to fall here? So you ask them how short they want them to fall. Usually the question will be answered for you if you dig a little bit deeper. So navigating situations where you might feel uncomfortable having the decision be left up to you, it's really all about just asking more questions. Another thing that I run into a lot, I gave a hair cutting example and I literally just talked about how I'm a colorist like a color specialist. But a color example is you might ask them about tone or placement. And that one can get a little bit trickier if they're like, leave it up to you. So with tone specifically, it's really important to make sure that you know skin tone and color theory. Whenever you're asking your client what kind of tone they want in their hair and they say they don't know, they want to leave it up to you, the next thing that I will usually go into is analyzing their skin tone. I'll ask to see the veins in their wrist. Veins will tell you the undertones of the skin. I look at their cheeks. If they're wearing foundation, I don't really pay attention to that. But if they're not wearing foundation, I look at their cheeks, see what color their cheeks are. My cheeks are very rosy, so I'm very warm undertone. My veins also show that I'm a warm undertone. Also look at their lip color and their eye color, and then from there I'm able to assess what tone would complement them best. Another way you can navigate that, if you don't feel super comfortable analyzing their skin tone in that way, is to ask them questions about what they like on themselves. And what I mean by that is you ask them, okay, I have a red shirt and a blue shirt. which one do you like better? Or you can do pink, you can do whatever colors you want. As long as they're opposing colors on the color wheel, you ask them which one they prefer, and then you go from there. Let's say my guest says red. Oh, I usually like to wear red shirts more. Okay, now you have 2 red shirts. Are we going for the pinky red or are we going for the orangey red? Which one do you prefer to wear? Whichever answer they choose will help you understand what kind of colors they like to see on themselves. Another thing that I'll ask along with the shirt analogy is like lipstick colors. Whenever you're wearing a dark lipstick, do you like a more red undertone or do you like a more plum maroon undertone? Plum and maroon is cooler, red is warmer, and so that kind of gets you in the realm. Okay, they say red, so they like warm. Do you like an orangey undertone or a pink undertone? You know, it's kind of the same thing, but just asking what they like on themselves will really help you to discover how they view themselves and what they feel most confident in and what they feel most comfortable in, because it is true that certain colors can wash certain people out. And in order to avoid that, you have to know what they don't like on themselves. So those are 2 ways to navigate whenever someone leaves something up to you, because I know that can be a pretty uncomfortable situation, especially if you're a new stylist, seasoned stylist. Those situations can be uncomfortable if you don't have the right tools in your tool belt to navigate those situations. So whenever I am going into a consultation, especially if someone seems unsure, but mostly also in general, I kind of have a checklist in my brain. First of all, what's the goal? Let's talk about what they're wanting. And usually from that, you can also ask specific questions about the vibe. Kind of like, I like to say keywords. If someone shows me a blonde, and maybe it's a lived-in blonde, I will use words like soft and gentle or subtle. And maybe they will disagree with that. And they will say, oh no, I think I like how bright it is. And then you know that they're looking for something a little bit more bold. So using those feeling keywords can really help you get the vibe along with the inspiration photos, because inspiration photos really only tell a small piece of the puzzle. If you are able to further dive into what brought them to choose that inspiration photo, you're more likely to achieve a result that they're more happy with. The second tier of my checklist is to hair history, kind of assess where we're at today in order to establish reasonable expectations. Sometimes people come in and you can do exactly what they want in that session. That's amazing. But sometimes you have to manage expectations, maybe because of previous color, maybe because of some damage that they have going on. Whatever the cards may have in store for you, you have to assess what they want versus what they have now, and maybe what that will bring you to for this session. So making sure to ask the right questions about their hair history. Depending on how long their hair is, that will tell you how far back you need to go into assessing their hair history. Because hair grows about 6 inches a year, it grows about a half an inch a month, so that's 6 inches a year. So if they have 12 inches of hair, you need to ask about their hair history for the last 2 years. Even understanding that color depositing masks can cause some color variation, toners, even just you have to understand what their hair history truly is in order to manage those expectations. And then my third tier, after we talk about, goals, expectations, the third tier is to customize it. And this is where you bring in those lifestyle questions. This is where you're asking them, do you braid your hair? Do you wear your hair up? Do you wear your hair down? Do you style your hair? How often do you wash your hair? And all of these things that will all play a part into the look that you will create for your guest today. So if you have these 3 checklists in order for your consultation, as well as just really deep diving into the guest and understanding what they want and what they're perceiving about the inspiration that they're bringing in, that is going to give you more success with your consultations and can really help eliminate some of that gray area when a client might be saying that they want to leave something up to you. Because like I said before, when a client says they don't know and they want to leave something up to you, most likely they do know. Sometimes there are situations where they really don't care, or they really do want you to kind of tell them what to do. And those situations are separate from someone just maybe not knowing what to say, or maybe not really being able to fully uncover what they want in their look. Diving into that can really help you have a better understanding and avoid some of those gray areas that might make you uncomfortable and might leave a little bit of variation from like your vision versus the client's vision. If you have a good consultation and if you're able to talk to your client and communicate with them well, you establish something that is very important that I will be talking about more on this page, but it's something called trust and authority. The authority part of that statement might be a little daunting, but I promise it's fine. It's perfectly fine. But if you have a good consultation, you're able to establish trust and authority, which means that your client trusts what you have to say and trusts what you're doing. You're also establishing authority within your field. So they aren't going to be sitting there like picking what you do, analyzing what you do, and they're just going to feel more confident. It can also help you feel more confident. Even if you're not confident, if you speak like you're confident, eventually you're going to trick yourself into thinking that you're confident. Now, speaking about trust and authority moves us into our final point of conversation today, which is marketing and social media. Another thing that I really like to talk about and like to do. Why is it important to be consistent on social media? You know, like maybe you've had a couple month stints of like posting a lot and maybe you got a few more likes than normal, but maybe you didn't notice a change in your books. Maybe you didn't really feel like you saw very much growth. So that might be a little bit discouraging. I'm here to tell you that consistency is the key, bro. Consistency is the motherfucking key. It is the way that you're going to grow, the way you're going to thrive. So why is it important? You might be asking. First of all, the algorithm, duh. Everybody knows that the more you post, the more Instagram will show you. So that's kind of a given. And it's true. The more you post, the more Instagram shows you. You'll be at the top of the feed. I've popped up on Explore pages before. You know, I've had people message me because they're like, oh, you're on the Explore page, and then I found you as a hairstylist. And I'm like, incredible work, Instagram. We love that. So it is true that the more you post, the more Instagram will show you. The second point is what I literally just mentioned, which is trust and authority. Let's dive into that really quick. Trust and authority is so important. If you think about brands like Coca-Cola, I don't drink soda, so I don't really know why I'm using this analogy, but we're going to roll with it. Coca-Cola, I think I'm thinking about this because it's kind of a psychology analysis that people use very often. So Coca-Cola puts out so many ads, and they probably, like, you might think on the surface that they don't need it, because Coca-Cola has kind of become a staple in our society as like the go-to soda. There's even some regions of the country that call all soda Coke. You might not think that Coca-Cola needs the marketing, but there's a reason why they do so much marketing. To establish trust and authority. Because when you, maybe, I haven't, you know, I don't really drink soda, but when I do, I get root beer, so that's just me. But we'll just kind of take the analogy for what it is. Whenever you're out and you're getting lunch, maybe you're just on running some errands and you want a little beverage, maybe what comes to mind first, if you're thinking of a soda, is Coca-Cola. Why? Because they have ingrained themselves in our society and in our psyches. And that is what we think of when we think of soda, when we think of beverages. We think of those cute little polar bears and all those little things that their branding has just really ingrained into our society. That is one example of trust and authority. We trust that they are a product that will come through. We know how it's going to taste. We know what the vibe is. And they have authority because they have established themselves as a consistent staple in the soda industry. We can do the same thing with our business, our hair Instagrams and what have you. By consistently showing up with consistent branding, with a consistent message, and we share our plethora of very important knowledge with the world, we are able to ingrain ourselves into someone's mind. So when they think about hair things, guess what? They're going to think of you. They're going to be looking in the mirror one day and be like, oh my God, I have so many split ends. I need to book an appointment. And because they keep seeing you over and over again in their feed, they're going to hit you up. I'm so serious. That has literally happened to me before, where someone messaged me. They're like, girl, I was brushing my hair last night. I have so many split ends. Can I book a haircut with you? First time client. They were just following me on Instagram for a few months. Then one day when they thought about their split ends, they thought of me. And that is what I mean by trust and authority. And that is why it's so important to show up on Instagram, share your voice, share your knowledge, and establish yourself as someone who knows what they're talking about and who you can trust. Another thing is, with products and tips with the hair, by showing up again with knowing what you're talking about, sharing your knowledge, people will come to you for product recommendations, for hair tips, and that can, improve your engagement. That can also, if you sell products through links or however you do your product sales, it can also help you get more product sales. So just in general, it's getting dark and my phone made me delete a bunch of things to finish this video. So I'm going to try and finish this up as fast as I can because I don't want it to be dark, and my lights, they're not going to cut it. I already know. I have beautiful windows in my room, but it doesn't help when it's dark. Establishing trust and authority is just really, really important. And the only way to establish trust and authority is to be consistent on social media, to plant that seed, to water it, to watch it grow, watch it thrive, which will build your clientele, your community, your reach, all of that good stuff. I talk about all of these things in my social media workbook that I just launched at the beginning of this year. Last year, I really worked hard on developing a social media class, which I taught to my salon, and I'm teaching another class this month. I'm starting a mentorship within my salon. I'm just doing so many things with my social media marketing because marketing is something that I'm actually super passionate about. So I'm really glad that I get to really flex those muscles and share my skills with the world now. So if you are interested in leveling up your social media game and going beyond the trends and avoiding burnout, I highly recommend you check out my workbook. I developed this class specifically so that people can learn how to lay the foundation for their social media platform. If you don't have that foundation of community and a brand and a voice, why should anybody stick around? The system that I have developed, it's my class, and my system is literally called How to Make Social Media Flow and Work for You. And that's the whole point, is you want things to be streamlined. You want things to be easy. So if you're interested in creating a foundation and making your life so much easier when it comes to social media and maybe learning a few things about marketing and social media tools, highly recommend checking out my class. I have so many plans in the future for all of this stuff. I am hosting classes in person. If you're in the local Albuquerque area, please keep an eye out for classes if you want to attend. It doesn't have to just be for hairstylists. It can be for any creatives who are trying to level up their social media game. But I'm also hoping to host some online mentorships as well, which hopefully that will come this summer. I just really love working with marketing and doing social media things. So it's really cool that I get to actually have some trust and authority in that realm. I don't really know how to conclude this video aside from saying thank you so much for sticking around if you've stuck with me thus far. I can't wait for all the creative endeavors that I have going on and all the projects that I have this year. This is going to be a great year, and I look forward to taking you guys along the journey with me, I guess. All right, I'll see you next time.